Tourism Australia is the Australian government agency responsible for marketing and attracting international visitors to Australia. It aims to grow the demand for tourism and drive Australia's competitiveness in the industry through partnerships and campaigns. As a marketing agency, they have the vision to become the world's most desirable tourist destination. This can be achieved through continuous improvements in technology and processes as well as infrastructure. This report will analyze the strategic marketing activities of Tourism Australia by looking at their market customer situation before moving on to their marketing mix and competitive situation. A PASL analysis and SWOT analysis will be given to aid the report as well, before closing with recommendations and conclusions. Tourism Australia operates in the tourism industry, which is the second fastest growing sector worldwide, with an annual growth of 7% as reported by the UNWTO. Accordingly, tourism in Australia has also experienced significant growth of increased visitor rate by 6% and increased visitor expenditure by 5%. This positive outlook can be greatly accredited towards the continuous streams of campaigns such as the Dundee campaign and the There's Nothing Like Australia campaign. Their target market is explained through the STP process, of which segmentation is the first step. Segmentation is defined as the process of splitting a market into smaller groups based on market needs and characteristics. The first variable is demographic, where tourists of middle upper class income, especially from the youth sector, are targeted. In geographic terms, visitors from Asian countries are targeted due to their high spending and high frequent and longer visits, although other countries such as America and Europe are also targeted. As for psychographic, Tourism Australia wishes to not only target tourists for vacation but also for business to create an image of versatility. The second step is targeting. Tourism Australia defines their target market as high-value travelers who are interested in the country and are likely to visit. To target them, they work with 21 key distribution partners, 6 industry partners, 3 agency partners, and 8 media partners. The third step is positioning, and it relates to how the target market perceives and distinguishes the brand from competitors. Australia is most well known for their vast wildlife and nature as well as their local delicacies. They are also ranked as one of the safest countries in the world to visit. The last part links to consumer behavior issues, which will be explained through the buyer decision-making process. The need recognition stage is heavily influenced by social and economic trends that supports traveling. Travelers rely greatly on the internet and word-of-mouth references for information search. Australia's most significant competitor is New Zealand, which makes them a very viable alternative. Even if travelers are interested in visiting Australia, several factors hinder them from actually visiting, such as extreme weather and disease outbreaks. Return visitor rates is at 67%, indicating a positive post-purchase decision.
Marketing mix is an essential aspect nowadays. Stated by Kotler and Armstrong, it defines by the mixture of the controllable marketing variable. There are 3 traditional marketing mix, which is product, price, place, and promotion. But for the services, there are 3 additional elements, which is process, people, and physical evidence. For the first one, product. Tourism Australia offered a service sector. Their product is intangible and are marketed based on feature, quality, and benefits, and quantities. And Tourism Australia is evaluating their service every day to meet consumer needs. The positive increase in Tourism Australia organization means with the success in constructing services that correspond with consumer demand. Price is the most crucial factor that can determine consumer satisfaction. And for the Tourism Australia, price for services often have varying prices depending on the type and offering that they provide. The third element is place. It refers to ease of the product availability to targeted customers. Tourism Australia operating in Australia with 21 key distribution partners, including Google, YouTube, and Facebook. Tourism Australia distribution channel implemented by vertical marketing system, which they play a vital role as a first mover. Stated by Kotler and Armstrong, stated that vertical marketing system is more efficient in order to stabilize the distribution channel. And the fourth one is promotion. It relates to the marketing communication, which is achieved through methods such as personal selling, advertising, direct marketing, public relations, sales promotional, and sponsorship. Also means with the way of the organization communicate their offering to the consumers. Tourism Australia success promoting their services mainly by holds campaigns. As stated above, that after the campaigns held, the Tourism Australia significantly growing. Process, it's refer to the implementations of action and functions to increase the value of the product. In this case, for the services of the Tourism Australia in the eyes of consumers. The organization believes that with the enhancement in technology, consumer will increase due to their attention that they really heavily rely on internet to get information. And then after that, people or personnel is a factor that refers to someone who do the services, include the employees itself. Tourism Australia maintains their successful performance by following the quality standards and conduct advisories set for their partners. And the last one is physical evidence. It's quoted from Wala and Kune. Physical evidence relates to the environment in which the service and any tangible goods that facilitates the performance and communication of the served are delivered. Tourism Australia focus on their campaigns to create a positive brand image. Through those campaigns, Tourism Australia aims to stimulate customers' perception about tourism in Australia.
As we know, each country has its own uniqueness and advantage which make them different from each other. For Tourism Australia, the main competitors are Brand USA and Tourism New Zealand. Brand USA is a non-profit organization created to marketing United States as the main travel destination. Therefore, this organization has mission to increase the international visitation, spend and market share to boost the country economics and improve the image of US through the world. However, this organization also have vision to become the best national marketing organization and also contribute in domestic product, job creation and tax revenue. However, Brand USA was giving benefit to US economy with market share around $21.8 billion in total economic impact. To accomplish their mission, they have 5 strategic principles which are create innovative marketing, market the welcome, build and maintain trust, add and create value, and lastly drive result. Brand USA has become the main competitor of Tourism Australia as they have $17.7 billion on average international spending, with popular destinations such as Grand Canyon, Liberty Statue, and other attractive destinations. The second one is Tourism New Zealand. This organization is responsible for marketing New Zealand to the world as the main destination for tourists. This organization has vision to be the best authentic destination storytellers in the world, with their mission to improve New Zealand economic by increasing the international visitors' value. In order to maximize the international visitors' value, they have 3 strategic priorities: expand the measure of value from short-term growth to long-term sustainability, manage the company market and sector for portfolio as the strategic investor, and lastly cooperate with government and partners to maintain and enhance the experience of visitors and host communities. Tourism New Zealand has become the competitors of Tourism Australia as their destination objects are most similar, and the distance between these two countries are very close. However, the point of parity between these 3 countries is their target market, which is China's visitors. But the way to attract the target market is different. For Tourism Australia, they increase its promotion in China by giving the way for Chinese airlines to increase their flight in Australia and make it easier for Chinese citizens to get multiple entry visa. For Brand USA, they provide Brand USA website for China, which is gousa.com, and travel equipment. And lastly, for Tourism New Zealand, they provide right and protection and also cooperate with China South Airlines to increase the Chinese visitors in New Zealand.
Next, I will be talking about the pestle analysis. The first one is the political analysis. Recently, China has reported to have issued a travel warning to US. This will indirectly give a positive impact for Tourism Australia, as the traveler for China will find another tourism destination. Since Australia is one of the most popular tourism destinations for the Chinese travelers, with 1.3 million visitors in 2018, it can be predicted that a lot of Chinese travelers who initially wanted to travel to US will choose Australia as their travel destination instead. So, the demand for Tourism Australia will increase. The second one is the economic analysis. The ongoing trade war between China and US has caused consumer inflation in China. This inflation has caused the food price in China to rise to 27% in 2019. This situation is unfavorable for Tourism Australia, as the Chinese people will have less money to spend on tourism. Hence, the demand for Tourism Australia will go down from the perspective of Chinese travelers. The next one is the social analysis. As most of the population from the Generation Z has become young adults, by 2020 they will become the largest contributors for the tourism sector. People from the Generation Z tend to have a lot of different preferences from the previous generations. For example, the previous generation preferred to book expensive hotels when they go traveling. But the Generation Z, they prefer to choose places that has some more local feeling, such as a homestay. Another example is the advertising. According to a study, the traditional advertising does not work anymore for the people from Generation Z. They give positive response mostly only to the AG advertisements that has attractive visuals. Next is the technological analysis. The technological development affect the tourism sectors in many ways. Today, we have e-tourism, which is a new technology that helps the tourism industries in terms of connection and distribution. With e-tourism, the tourism industries can establish the connection between the partners more easily, especially the hotel and airline companies. This technology also helps the customers to book hotel and airlines easily using their mobile phones, as the technological improvement for booking engines has allowed the people to do so. Next is legal analysis. Because of the high level of tourism activities in Australia, a high level of greenhouse gas emissions is also needed to provide the tourism activities. For the last 4 years, Australia's level of emissions have been steadily increasing. The data shows that the emissions from the transport alone caused a 62% increase than the total emissions in 1990. This has caused the UK Parliament to give a warning to Australia for failing to meet the efficiency standard. The next one is the environmental analysis. The climate change that is happening around the world is a serious threat for Australia's natural wonders, as it could severely damage them. For example, the Great Barrier Reef, which is Australia's main tourism attraction. The climate change causes the rise in ocean's temperature. This will cause the coral bleaching, which is the corals being stressed and stripped of their color. If Australia fails to prevent that from happening, then there will be less demand for Australia tourism, as most of the visitors come to Australia mainly for its natural attractions. As this is a natural phenomenon, there is nothing much that can be done to prevent that from happening. In order to minimize the loss in demand, Australia should focus more to promote the other natural attractions that are not so affected by the climate change.
From discussion earlier, it identifies that Tourism Australia are facing several issues like selecting the appropriate target market and using technology at the best way. However, the main issue faced by Tourism Australia is developing the best strategy to capture visitor growth by considering all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats owned by Australia tourism sector. Tourism Australia is responsible to capture the best opportunity, which is increase in global tourism trend. In order to do so, promoting and advertising the strength owned by Australia tourism industry may be essential. Tourists, whether local or international, may explore the infamous Great Barrier Reef, Mount Buller, or even Bundy Beach. If they are bored with all the natural scenery, visiting a place like Sydney Opera House and Sydney Harbour Bridge could be a good option while tasting some local delicacies like damper. Tourists must not be worried with all the security, as Australia is one of the safest countries and only 0.4% international tourists got offended here. However, if even hammers not, some internal weaknesses like disease outbreak and high cost of holiday may discourage tourists to come and make a visit. In addition, several issues like extreme weather and competition issue may be a serious threat for Tourism Australia. Therefore, converting internal weaknesses into strengths may be an essential things to do. First thing first, spreading a vaccination may be very important to tackle the spread of the disease. Secondly, manipulating the weather by cloud seeding may reduce the possibility of extreme weather. As regards converting external threats into opportunity, collaborating with other countries, other competitors such as New Zealand, may be a win-win solution for both countries, as both countries are able to promote its tourism sectors. Tourism Australia is responsible to handle all related factors of Australia tourism industry. The tasks are including developing a good image, selecting the potential target market, and setting the strategy to achieve desired objectives. The strategy chosen to capture those who are young and coming from middle to upper level of income must consider marketing mix factor and external factors. The external factors may include competition factor, political factor, economical factors, social factor, technological factors, environmental factors, and also legal factors. Also, conducting a SWOT analysis may help the board director to read the trend and choose an action to do. In order to reduce the possibility of losing opportunity, conducting a vaccination and manipulating the weather may be essential to tackle the disease outbreak and extreme weather respectively. In relation with external issue like competitors' issue, government intervention may be very essential. Government may easier the visa requirement to boost the visitors to come to Australia. In addition, collaborating with competitors such as New Zealand may be very important to introduce to the world the tourism sectors of both countries.